What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Vincent Esposito, and today we're going to be talking about the gut-brain connection. But before we get to that, if you haven't already, please subscribe below. We're talking about everything nutrition, health, longevity, lifestyle on this channel. So if you're looking for that information, you're in the right place. So I've kind of alluded to this on previous videos, not explicitly, but it's happened. The idea of the gut affecting our overall health and overall metabolism is actually a pretty new idea by scientific standards. It's only been around for about a decade or so. The idea kind of stems from the fact that bacteria aren't necessarily like stealing nutrients or stealing food from us. Rather, they utilize the food we need to create things that we also use. Certain vitamins and minerals, for example, are created by bacteria. We don't necessarily extract them from the foods we eat. So it becomes this interplay and dependence on each other that becomes really important. One of the reasons this is important is because, as I've mentioned before, when the gut microbiome is kind of thrown out of whack and not in balance, it could actually lead to negative health outcomes, and lack of diversity in the gut microbiome leads to all different types of diseases, from things like Alzheimer's to diabetes to even forms of cancer. So really understanding that and getting that under control plays a big role in our overall health. What's been even more interesting in more recent years is the studies on how our gut microbiome and gut bacteria affect our mood and outlook and affect how our brain functions overall. Now, on face value, this might seem a little weird because the gut and brain aren't even remotely located near each other, but they're actually connected via the vagus nerve, which is actually a cranial nerve that actually works from the brain all the way down to the gut and visceral organs. So it serves as a pathway of communication between our brain and our visceral organs, including our gut. With that said, this connection has been linked to how our brain functions, how we feel, how we think, how our mood overall. These are all connections that are slowly being teased out with further research. In fact, back in 2010, the European Union actually approved vagus nerve stimulation as a viable treatment for depression in those countries. And from an anatomical perspective, it makes sense because the vagus nerve is actually the most efficient pathway from the brain to the gut in terms of the path it runs in the body. Now, our gut is responsible for interpreting and utilizing every molecule of food we eat, and we call on our immune system, 80% of which is located right around the gut, when necessary to respond to any threats that might be present. It is also able to relay this information back to the brain via a vast network of nerves that all coalesce into the vagus nerve to transmit that information from the gut all the way back to the brain. In fact, this network of nerves is so vast, it's actually considered the largest sensory organ in the body. Interestingly enough, a 2013 study went as far as to look at this connection between the gut and the brain and to see how certain bacteria strains would affect how we emotionally processed certain feelings and pain and things of that nature. In this study, the subjects were given different varieties of cocktails of bacterial species for 4 weeks, and the scientists looked at brain function along that time period. What the scientists ended up finding was that the areas of the brain responsible for pain and emotion processing were the most affected by these bacteria strains given to the subjects. This study was actually really revolutionary at the time, as the only studies that were similar in comparison were done previously only on mice subjects. So this was a huge step in transitioning to human subjects as the control for this experiment. Now, the good news is we can actually control the health of our microbiome, and it is affected by things we do in our everyday life. So things like our stress levels, how well we sleep, what we eat. Nutrition plays a key role. Activity levels all affect microbiome diversity, and how we interact with our daily environment is going to play a key role in altering and affecting that gut-brain connection. We can also take steps to improve this symbiotic relationship by improving on those factors mentioned above. So improving on your sleep quality and sleep quantity if you have to, mitigating stress, addressing any environmental toxins that might be in the area, are all going to play key roles into increasing microbiome diversity and improving your health overall. From a nutrition perspective, the good bacteria love high fiber food. So we're talking about things like asparagus, leeks, garlic, onions, artichokes, sunchokes, all these high fiber foods, radishes, turnips, all these high fiber foods provide the prebiotics the good bacteria need and thrive on to increase diversity levels in the gut, which will also overall improve this gut-brain connection. So getting more fiber into your nutrition and your diet plans is going to play a key role. So getting more of those vegetables, fruits, nuts, and seeds is really going to provide the fertilizer to lay the groundwork to allow a garden of good bacteria to grow. Now, if you do not consume a high fiber diet on a regular basis, I recommend slowly adding more fiber over time, as if you go swiftly from a low fiber to a high fiber diet, it could lead to some digestive issues in the interim. And those are the basics I wanted to go over today when it comes to the gut-brain connection. I think the gut is often overlooked because it's not something I think we're readily aware of, and its role in our overall health. Again, the immune system lies mostly around the gut. We now know there is a link between the gut and how the brain functions, which is really key. And just keeping this in mind and cultivating an environment that will improve our overall gut health is going to play a key role in improving our health overall, even with symptoms that might not seem apparent. But if you did enjoy this video, really appreciate it if you liked and subscribed below. Coming out with videos twice a week again on everything, health related. And until then, see you next time.